What's up, you guys? We're here coming live from Planet 13, the high stakes stage. Welcome, you guys. First, I want to kick off MJBizCon. This is day 4 for me. I'm running on fumes. Would love to know, how has the week been for you guys? Let us know. We'll start off with Shaun over here.
How has the week been?
Yes.
I thought you said, how has the weed been? Weed's been great. The week has been incredible. I mean, it's so amazing to see everybody hustling, doing what they came out to do, like I'm noticing people are actually setting unique targets for what they want to achieve and then focusing in on that instead of, it's tempting to like run the conference floor and do everything, but a lot of focus this year and I'm loving it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see. Sue, I've been riding with you most of the week, so I feel like I already know the answer. How has the week been for you? You were the host of the California Takeover over at the Hub stage. Let us know how your week was.
So first and foremost, this has been absolutely phenomenal. I have loved being able to come out here, spend time with some of my closest girlfriends, as well as getting to be around a lot of these other like cannabis brands that we don't get to see on the everyday like basis. I think that sometimes for some of us, our schedules are a little bit busier and like we max ourselves out in so many various ways. So like this morning, I was like, I'm taking a little hot tub time and I'm gonna like be in here for like an hour and like mermaid time. Basically, I'm like, I gotta like ground myself out a little bit.
Sometimes
so that
we need
I can
mermaid time.
Exactly.
Yes,
Intense
of course.
listening.
Mermaid
oh my
time
goodness.
is key.
I like mermaid time.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
thunder.
So for me, I was very intentional this year. I did the Oklahoma State takeover and they had us come up first. Sue was right behind me. I got a chance to meet people that I've only seen on social media, so I was really excited about that. I'm just like you, 4 days here. And what I mixed in this time that I hadn't mixed in before was I put wellness in. And so we did a pajama networking event at the Virgin Hotel and it was amazing. And then we did some yoga one morning with Ricky Williams. That was really cool. So I was really intent on making sure that I balanced my work life together. And that really happened well. I did not get a chance to shop, which I think my bank account is probably going to be happy about that. But
Same. Same.
But there's definitely some packaging and things like that I'm going to circle back around and check out because MJBiz is the place to get all your packaging and everything for the cannabis business.
Yeah, it's really exciting to hear. So, Brian,
Yes.
MJBiz, that's its own thing, but the high stakes stage here, this is its own separate thing. It's part of, I guess, MJBizCon Weed Week.
Oh, yeah.
But how has this week been for you? Because you've kind of had to split your time a little bit more, right?
Yes, but that's a good thing. You
Yeah.
know, obviously, having more to do is not a bad thing. And
Yeah.
it's been really great. Planet 13's been awesome. Of course, Good Life Gang has been amazing partners for, this high stakes stage. We had a party here on the first night of MJBiz. It's been a long week, but that went off very well. So it's been nice to be able to have a lot of people come and have a little bit of an alternative place to do things and to bring attention to sort of Nevada cannabis as well in a way, and have these forums, other venues to speak. It's important for us to try to be as inclusive as we can, for everybody, and bring attention to everything going on because Las Vegas Cannabis Week is a pretty cool thing. We've all been coming to it for many years. All the fun events that go on in addition to MJBizCon. So it's been nice. It's been spread thin. We're all bush, but in the good way. I've got that good like energy.
Right.
Maybe it's the mermaid thing. I definitely I tapped into some self-care myself. So important to do, especially when you're on these like big long hauls like we all are. So
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's been a great week.
Great week all around. So for those who don't know, Latinas in Cannabis is the largest in-person and digital community for Latina cannabis professionals and enthusiasts. And so we've been growing since our launch in 2020. And I'm really proud to have this partnership with MJBizCon that allowed us to have so much programming at the conference. However, we're really proud that, we were given this opportunity by Beard Bros and Good Life Gang. Shout out to Kat here for being supportive as well. But they gave us the platform and the space to be here as well. well. And so I'm really grateful for that, which is just really exciting to see. And when I started kind of figuring out like, okay, we got this time slot, what are we going to do, make the most of? I started thinking about topics. You know, I remember you and I were on a call and we were like, what should we do here? Let me figure this out. And I ran an idea by you regarding allyship, because one common situation that happens all the time with Latinas in cannabis is, well, sounds like a cool event, but can I go? I'm not Latina. Or I wish I could be a part of this, but I don't identify. Or maybe someone who is part Latina who feels like, oh, is this space not being for me? Right. Anybody's welcome to Latinas in cannabis events and activities and engagements. It's just more, it's centered around the Latina experience. So we invite our allies to join us in these conversations and you know, events, but just understanding that we're in this space to support Latinas, and because we don't have that space, right? And so folks have always asked me, like, why is it Latinas in cannabis and not women in cannabis, Susie? You're not being inclusive. It's not that we're not being inclusive. We're just being intentionally inclusive about Latinas. Everybody can come. So I thought about this topic of allyship. So I think before we get started on this topic that I'm really excited to broach, I would like for each of you guys to share a little bit about who you are, what you do in the industry, and then we'll get into the talk. If you want to start maybe this time,
okay,
Brian,
sure.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brian Holler. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of Beard Bros Farms and Media. We are a media company, you know, getting exposure, generating leads for our clients. We also have a product line that's in 3 states, RSO. Shout out to Dablicator. We have a Dablicator one as well. And a nighttime tincture. And we have flower in Canada, which is kind of funky, but it's really cool.
Nice.
Anyhow, we continue to grow, and you know, ultimately what you're saying about providing spaces for people to be seen, heard, you know, etc. We find ourselves in a fortunate position to be able to sort of help that sort of a thing along in a few different ways, whether it's through amazing events or partnerships like this, or creating events ourselves, or just what we share on our news platform. And I think that's just important to do.
Yeah.
And so we take that very seriously, and you know, we're happy to do it, happy to support Latinas in cannabis and all sorts of other amazing organizations across cannabis and associated industries. So that's what I do.
Yeah, love the work you guys are doing over at Beard Bros, and I think it's really necessary. You know, I think a lot of spaces in the industry are either too corporate or too culture, but I think that you guys really do it right. So thank you very much for the support as well.
Thank you, of course. Thanks, Susie.
Thunder, we all know Thunder Walker. Come on now.
Hey.
But for those who really want to understand more deeply your mission, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, first of all, my name is Thunder Walker, and I'm with the Thunder Walker Experience. My background is cannabis real estate, and I basically wanted to share this with everyone that wanted to start their own business in cannabis. And what I realized very quickly is that you cannot do cannabis without real estate.
Yeah.
And so I was called in to set up companies throughout the country for women, people of color that wanted to get into this industry, but they truly have never done anything in real estate. Maybe they've purchased a home, but nothing as big as taking out a commercial lease or even building a building and building it out. So I was able to help a lot of people do that. In the process, I decided to do one for myself. So I opened up a dispensary, partnership and a processing and a grow. And I haven't looked back because I fell in love with the plant. The Thunder Walker Experience, it has allowed me to take a Montessori-style education base to the general public to get them to understand what this plant is about and to remove the stigma. So this last year, we did the Smoke Currency Tour, which allowed us to take a green thread and tie all the states together because every state is different. And right now in 2025, I am pushing forward to look for a national medical card because you do not leave your pain, your disability at home. And so that's the way I believe that we can move toward legalization in this country. And so that's my mission right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love it. Go ahead, Sue. Let them know. Ranchera Mami, you probably follow her because we all do.
Yeah.
And so many thousands of others. We love your content. But you do so much more than that. Let us know what you do.
So I am a 3rd generation Latina farmer and rancher. I have found that through farming our hemp and our cannabis, we also create genetics as well. My family has created Tangy, Strawberry Banana, Crockett Family Farms. I absolutely love and adore. How could I not? Because that's literally my family. That's my man and my father-in-law right there. So, but I do realize that within everything that I've done, I have a lot of power within my voice. I have a lot of power just in my appearance of being places and what I can do and what I can help with as well. So I have found myself in this position to where I feel like I can uplift my community. We can give jobs to the people that live in our county, like Fresno, 559, California. And it's just something that I've been really proud to be able to, more so humbling to be able to have this opportunity to be able to be a part of something bigger. And so like for me, being a part of Latinas in Cannabis has, been a way that I feel like I can be able to provide resources, but as well as like Susie, as well, the founder of Latinas in Cannabis, as well as supplies a lot of resources. And so one of the things is like with the organization and with myself as well, is that we lead by example. We are the role models. So our voice, our play into money, our representation out here, it does have a cause and effect. And so I think throughout everything, it's just about being, for me, it's about being very community focused into how I can help, not just only like Latinas, but also other women of color and other minority demographics to be where I'm at. Because at this point in my life, I feel very privileged to have all of these things. And so no matter how much money you have, you can still find yourself with a greater calling in life. And I feel like my greater calling is to be a voice of the people and to give greater opportunity and provide myself. I am not a gatekeeper. You want a resource, you want to connect up mine, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. So I think that's why I'm here today right now.
Yeah, I love that. Putting people on.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
I love it. I mean, it's been really helpful. So I'm Shaun Salvaje, and I'm coming out of Texas, which is, what do? I'm trying to legalize Texas. It's actually really difficult, it turns out. But, and we so rely on all of the knowledge and information that you guys share and giving that shot of inspiration, because being Latina in the Lone Star State, with the way that our regulations are made, not just in cannabis, but across the board, it's a bit of a challenge. It gives a lot of people hope in those states that are still facing prohibition issues and trying to restructure or figure out how to get the formula right for hemp and then cannabis in the future. It gives them hope that there's going to be an opportunity to do it, because even with the news that came out about Texas this week, that our, lieutenant governor is suing to ban all THC.
Yeah.
I'm reminded that a few years ago, you guys faced similar challenges in different spaces. And if we can pull from that information, so I'm a former military photojournalist, and I left the Pentagon and came straight to cannabis. So it was a fun transition. I joined initially because I wanted to be a combat photographer and tell the story of the people, because a lot of folks didn't know what was going on the ground or how we were structuring policy. And I found the parallels between the war zone and how we do international diplomacy and cannabis were a bit too similar. And that meant whatever road ahead for us we had in cannabis, it was going to be a difficult and bumpy one. So they were going to need storytellers to come, help capture the people's voice, help capture the information we need for the industry to actually grow and expand, and not just, throwing darts in the dark and hoping that it works. There's structure, there's strategy to it. So what I love to do is be behind the scenes a lot. Either I'm behind the scenes, behind the lens, as a journalist, or I'm helping people kind of structure their communication strategy. How do they want to approach marketing? How do they want to approach public-facing communication, internal communication, and of course, everybody's favorite, investor relationships. Because you got to keep those guys happy, right? They keep the lights on.
Yes. I love your work. Multifaceted communications professional for sure. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit. So I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to give a scenario. And then you guys are going to share an example of allyship. For example, can you please define allyship? And this is the scenario. The scenario is a woman just launched a new business. Please share how you, in your capacity, in the context of your work, an example of how you would show allyship to this person. So the question is twofold. One, define allyship, and then give an example of how you would help a girlfriend of yours. She just launched a business. She didn't ask you for anything. What would you do to show allyship? Who wants to come in? Whoever's ready, feel free to take it on.
I could start.
Go ahead, Sue.
Okay. So, from my perspective of what allyship is being able to identify where your strong outcomes are, the potential that you have that you could offer somebody to provide them with a, could be a greater purpose, could be a greater outcome, whatever it is. It's about being able to use your position, and it's not just a position business level, but it could be a position of emotional support as well. So there's a lot of things that we could see as a potential allyship itself. I have always found that when I look at allyship, it's about how we can come together to really support each other at the end of the day. And it's not about taking away something from yourself, but it could be taking away something from yourself. I believe that there is a difference between equality and equity here in the U.S. And so
I just want to take a minute that Sue offered her spot on the panel to somebody else. She just threw it out there. She's like, Susie, I just want to let you know if there's someone else, please give up my spot. And so I think that that's, going back to you, but that's an example that I've seen you show allyship. So thank you for that. Now, back to the scenario. So a girlfriend of yours just launched a business. How are you embodying allyship?
So I think that one of the most important things that you can do is how you representate them. You can post about them online. You can go leave them good reviews. But you can also show up and be supportive of them. If they have an event going on, any of those things right there, you can go be supportive in so many various ways to show allyship for them. And so like one of my favorite thing is like when, for instance, like JM over here, JM comes to every single event or conference that me or Susie speak at right over here. So who else does that right over there? Who else comes just to show up, drives a few hours just because they want to be supportive of somebody right there? Because JM's presence means a lot. Her being here shows a lot. But that's the same for all of our presences as well. Our voice and our representation matters, and what we do and the outcomes from those situations, that all affects our allyship here. So if we want to talk about allyship, talk about intention of the allyship. Have a good intention, have the best intention for everybody that you deal with, first and foremost. And I feel like that leads to the perfect allyship right there.
Yes, thank you. Like that. Next person, jump in, define allyship, and give an example of how you're supporting your homegirl who just launched a business.
Well, for me, being an Afro-Latina, it's really interesting because it's not the first thing that people see. They have questions about me as far as my hair or the way I look, but they don't automatically put the pieces together. So Sue was so wonderful when I first started Proud Mary. She literally sent me product and she shared some of my content on social media. And we developed a friendship, and we never actually physically met, until now, really, to be honest with you. Don't make me cry. Stop. Stay over there.
Allyship in action, you guys.
She's my girl. And I think that's important because sometimes it also means opening a door and just being silent. And that's what it means to me, is opening a door. So once she opened a door for me, it allowed me to open a door for someone else and allow them to shine. A lot of times with Sue and myself, other people in this industry, we take up a lot of space. Our energy, our vibration, we really, really take up a lot of space, and our words mean something. So if I'm able to take the next person and give them the key to be able to speak, so for the Oklahoma State takeover, it was really interesting because I had several people come up to me and say, hey, I've never spoken before, and you gave me the opportunity to speak on stage, and not only speak on stage, but speak at MJBiz. That was huge for a lot of people. So if you're able to be an ally, it's not necessarily being upfront, but being almost invisible, in my opinion, and allowing the next person to shine. And so I thank Sue for that, but I also returned the favor for the next person. And I was able to not only send them product like Sue taught me to do, but I also was silent and had them in the room for them to experience their shine and push their product in their business. And that's sometimes hard to do if everyone is coming up to you. You have to refer that energy, refer that love to someone else.
Love that. Love that.
So allyship.
Yep. Define allyship and what are you doing?
Well, an ally is
support.
An ally is a
Yes.
friend, right? So it sort of goes along with what you're all saying, right? It's opening a door. It's, going an extra mile. It's supporting somebody that you feel is, special for whatever reason you might connect. I do think that certain folks in the space have a responsibility to leverage their sort of notoriety, to your guys' point, or place in the space that they've, find themselves in to include other folks that, maybe had it a little harder to get there, or maybe didn't have, an easy way to get there. And on top of that, I think it's super important to give back to your friends like you're talking about, or just people that are colleagues that you feel have special, that you want to work with or that you want to see grow. One cool thing about all of us have been in the space for a decent amount of time. It's really amazing to see like your friends grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's like, that juices me more than almost, us growing.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I mean?
really special. And also, I just want to note too that Latinas in Cannabis, we're all Latinas except for Brian. Why did I have him here, right? It was important because I wanted this perspective of what can men do when it comes to allyship, because a lot of the conversations that we're talking about allyship between each other, well, what about men? And I think Brian's a great example of that because he's been able to facilitate so many spaces for Latinas in cannabis, both at Hall of Flowers. Remember, Sue, we did one of the first ever Latinos in cannabis during Latino Heritage Month at Hall of Flowers. We were at the Mita and Beard Bros stage, and Good Life Gang was there as well.
Made possible by the Beard Bros stage.
Made possible by that.
Well,
and
of course, we love you all too.
There's so many ways, and so that is the big reason why Brian's on here, because it's having that full 360 conversation of like us, but what about the men? And so great definition of allyship. What are you doing for your homegirl? She just launched a business. How are you showing up as an ally?
I'm treating her with the respect she deserves as a business owner and as somebody who's entrepreneurial. So when I meet awesome people like that, I'm fortunate enough to have a skill set that can help a lot of people. And so I would just help her in all the ways that I've always helped anybody else who would be in that position. Maybe it's an introduction, or maybe it's a couple of Zoom calls or something, or, maybe if there's more there, there's more there. Cool. We're always open to that, of course, but ultimately it's a matter of just, I don't know, like you guys were saying, like it's about giving back. It's just about like, hey, I see a value here. I know how hard this whole stuff is, almost said the real feelings. But anyways, point is, like I think it's important because we're all in this sort of foxhole together, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's hard, really hard.
Yes.
And you have to keep that in mind as you're growing and building. And there's a lot of people who don't give a shit about that. And that's unfortunate, and you need to watch out for those folks, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And, and you need to know people who you can trust.
Right.
Yes.
Can I add to that?
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely. Knowing someone that you can trust, because it's great to share a post, to talk about products and to be really positive, but it's also great, like you're saying, to be able to have that close friend, that an ally that you can go to and say, hey, this is my idea. And they're like, well, wait.
Yep.
Whoa.
Oh, hey, I'm thinking about working with these folks because we're going to do the thing. Hey.
Yes.
Slow
But
down
it
a
should
little
be
bit.
kind of reciprocal at the end of the day.
Correct.
I think that if you put a lot into, and it's not always saying like, you give without the feeling that you should be returned something.
Yes.
We should all feel that way. Whether you're giving it to a girlfriend, giving it to a friend, or somebody in the industry, and you're like, oh, well, I introduced you to this person. It's not about that, but because that should be selfless, but also understand at the end of the day that the value that you do bring to the table, the support that you bring to the table, should be reciprocated in a way that shows continuous support.
Correct.
You know, like Shauna hasn't gone this week yet, but I want her to speak over here about it because we've known each other for a while. And I feel like both Shauna, myself, and Susie have known each other collectively for years, where we have supplied just this really genuine, supportive nature, regardless if we were in the same state or not.
I mean, you're dead on about it, because I love that you said that Sue put product on the shelf and helped you in that way, because she also helped on the hemp side in Texas. That's actually how I got introduced to her brand, was through a retailer.
I was like one of the largest suppliers of Texas hemp back before they could even grow it over there. So,
But she knew something was going on. And I think maybe that's where the allyship is really important. Is I love what you said about you have to have the people who can give you the feedback. You have to be a person who can tactfully deliver the feedback. But then the other thing is, to really have great allyship, you have to be ready to receive the feedback and not take it personally. Like, you have to be like, you know what? That was a bad idea. And I did fuck it up. And I have a friend who's going to tell me, this is how you can improve it. This is how we can reiterate. And this is how we can grow, and not taking it so personally. Because if we had done it in Texas another way, we could have done it a different way. We could have been like, we don't want your product. We want to, and Texas is like that. We want to do our own thing. You know, maybe that's why I was like, good allyships, getting along with folks. But
bigger and better in Texas.
yeah, and it's okay. We love it. And I love that about Texas. But at the same time, the best form of allyship, and me and Susie were just talking about this, is where you're creating an air of collaboration and you're not having to look out for each other or at one another like you're competing, which so often, I think, if you really want to be a good ally, don't put people in positions where it's this one or that one, because you create this natural competition that doesn't have to exist. We can find spaces for everyone to fit into where they belong and excel and grow in that space. And the second we can do that, everyone gets to contribute magic in their way. And I'm not talking about just woo-woo magic, like,
No.
like, actually, when you get the people in the right places, the strategy always develops. So good allyship is not just good for the girlfriend whose business we're going to support, and we're going to tell her, hey, you might want to structure it this way, or you might want to consider that. But good allyship is also being one of those people yourself, even when you're at the bottom, to acknowledge that you're here, you're participating, you're showing up, and you're showing up with integrity to add to that collaborative environment. So that way we're creating this energy that pushes everybody forward.
Collaborative.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's collaborative.
a collaborative
That's basically,
energy.
that's a
I love that.
good way to go.
So we have just a few minutes left here. I want to end things off with if you guys can each share. I think if we can get it done with 30 seconds each. 30 seconds.
Got it.
Share. Okay, this is the last scenario. I just want you guys to really deliver this one. Okay, someone you know is being bullied, and you know about it, but the person who's being bullied is being bullied by someone who you also know. What are you doing? How are you showing up as an ally?
That's 30
and
seconds.
keeping it cool. That's the challenge. 30 seconds. Think on your feet. Also, we'll take it to 45 seconds. How about that? Share where they can follow you. That's the challenge. Ready?
All in 30
go.
seconds?
All in 45. 45.
I'll take a swing.
All right, go.
Ooh, that was a bad pun. Anyways, the bullies, right? Anyhow, I would definitely try to handle that discreetly. Number one, if they were open to having conversation, I would check with each of them, and then maybe create an opportunity for them to speak with one another, and hopefully that could be squashed. If that couldn't happen, then I don't know, because bottom line is at that point it starts getting a little bit more personal between them, and sometimes you got to be careful about that and how you're inserting yourself into those sorts of situations too.
Yep.
So very important. But I do think an ally would at least try to put the sides together to see if there's something, especially if you're both friends with both, or there's vested interest there. So that would be my answer. And you can find us at beardbros.farms.com. That's with a PH, and we're on all the social platforms. I'm Brian Holler. You can find me just about everywhere you can hear me. And I'm Holler 1012 on IG. So thanks, Susie.
Bam, we got it done. On to the next.
Well, I loved his answer. And first of all, the hardest thing about this is trying to pick sides. So I personally would not pick sides. I think that there is both sides, and then there's the truth. And so I would definitely want to be the truth for both of my friends and point out their flaws and all the things that they have positive, and see where we can communicate, not just communicate, but communicate with each other. And the reason why I say it like that is because it's important to understand that people only see that vision the way they can see it. They're limited at that very time. The way that you're going to be able to find me is the thunderwalkerexperience.com, or you can follow me at I Am Thunderwalker on most social platforms. But once again, I'm going to love them throughout the process, and I refuse to choose a friendship one side or the other.
I love that. Going straight to the meat, right? Go ahead, Sue.
So I think sometimes it can be a little bit tricky out here. I do have a saying sometimes, though. Whoever first talks about it and causes the scene is kind of the drama. So a lot of times there's a lot of issues that we have going on right here. We don't all need to talk about them. Sometimes it's a conversation that you need to man up to, and you need to talk to that person. But I also, one of the things that I do admire is I have loved working with Susie over here because she came from PR crisis management. I have learned a lot from her, and I've learned a lot about the power of an apology itself. As a business owner myself, and as a friend myself, is the power of the apology. It's the power of owning up. And it's not about what you did necessarily. It's about the outcome that would happen. So when we look at the cannabis industry, we can try to divide ourselves. We can try to create divots. We can try to bully people. But if you want to bully somebody, it will be found out and it will be known. And there is no place for any of that. So maybe it's not about what's going to be done right then, but it may be what's happening later on.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do we have time a little bit more for her? Okay, cool. Go
We
ahead,
got
finish it out,
45.
Shaun.
I can do it fast. Okay. Wait, what was the question? No.
So the question is, you have someone who is
Someone
bullying
who's
someone, but you happen to know both of them, and you're trying to keep the peace.
That's exactly what you do. Is you say, what is the question? Try to ask more questions, build understanding, because often when you're having a conflict, you're misunderstanding what the other person is invested in, and there's some kind of hurt, unless you have nefarious bad actors. If you have bad actors, and that's me, the Pentagon there, nefarious bad actors need to actually be handled, but that you don't have to take it upon yourself, because I think if you act with class, rise above, encourage the person who you realize is probably being victimized to also rise above, take notes, and don't do business with people who behave in negative ways.
They'll show their true
They
colors.
always reveal themselves, and it solves itself. And you can find me at Shaun Salvaje.
Yay.
Oh, I'm Ranchero Mommy over here, Ranchero Familia.
That's it.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us for this important conversation. I mean, we can talk about this for so long. Thank you, High Stakes Stage. Thank you, Beard Bros and Good Life Gang. We're wrapping it up, our first ever Latinas in Cannabis panel here at the High Stakes Stage at Planet 13. We'll catch us next time.
Thank you.
Hey.